What up, guys? My name is Kret, and today I have a new spreadsheet for you. So I released my public live build calculator yesterday, which allows you to calculate effective health, and then a hunter's build and damage versus effective health. Internally, I've developed a power curver and a PTS version, which I have not yet made any decisions about releasing, and they've given me these numbers. So, I've used the build calculator to find generally the strongest build for each hunter, and then use the power curve to spit out a power curve, which will tell you how good the build is at each item. So to start, let's go with Ahmahzing. There's really no quantifiable decision between Bluestone and Destal. It's just sort of like it's philosophy. Like it's like, what do you want to do with this character? But everything else is mathematical. So you want to go Devo Gauntlet, Ninja Tabi, Ikavol, Executioner, Rage, Deathbringer. Then you sell your Ikavol for Malice. This gives you the best possible power curve. And right here, third item, you can see this boost up ahead of the curve from Ikavol, which is important. So that's why you buy Ikavol there. And Executioner would be roundabout here. Rage is I just got a text message. Rage and Deathbringer are the two crit items you want, and then late game you're selling your Ikavol for a Malice, which is netting you a fairly significant damage boost. It's around 200, which is worth it in the late game because, well, what else are you going to do with that 2,000 gold, right? It also will tell you if Achilles' Spear is good, and here it says steroid stack. So what that means is that you can use Achilles' Spear at the same time as you have a Hive active, and it won't waste stats and overcap your attack speed. It will give you about a 200 DPS boost on Ahmahzing. And in fact, the spreadsheet basically tells you how to use Achilles' Spear, and it's always giving a 200 DPS boost on every character as long as you're using the right situations. Ahmahzing wants to use Pink Buff, which is attack speed and a small amount of base damage. On her is using Bluestone with Spike Gauntlet yet again. You could go Destal on her. I think there's conversation there. Devo Gauntlet Ninja Tabi, because of his passive, the Enfeeble, which reduces target's protections. Ikavol's not worth it. Executioner is just a much stronger option. So you go Executioner, Rage, Deathbringer, Malice. Save a little bit of gold. You can see the final items right over here, so there's no late game sell. You do want a steroid stack. Your steroid's your pillar, and the pink buff is good. And up here, I didn't explain this for AMC, so I'll explain this for on her. There's unbuffed DPS, which is without your steroid active and without target protections. There's steroid DPS, so this is the pillar in this case. And Enfeeble is always counted into unbuffed DPS because you can't turn it off. Unbuffed DPS versus Neath is actually her protections, and then steroid versus Neath is the value of your pillar the pillar DPS going through Neath's protections and coming out. So on her is actually a very good relationship between his steroid DPS and his steroid DPS versus Neath, because he does have that Enfeeble that allows him to get a little bit closer, a little bit lower protection numbers. Moving on to Apollo. So Apollo has Audacity, which doubles his base attack speed for 5 shots. Very powerful steroid, and actually puts him, I believe he's actually the highest steroid DPS character for those 5 shots, which can be very powerful. I chose Bluestone, but you can go Destal too if you have to, if you feel like you're up against a strong lane or whatever. Devo Gauntlet, Warrior Tabi, no Ikavol this time. Executioner is just a better damage boost with the steroid and the base values and stuff like that. Into Rage, Deathbringer, Malice. Your Achilles' Spear, you don't want a steroid stack. So what that means is you don't use Achilles' Spear when you have your Audacity active. Use it right before or right after so that you can get to the Audacity faster. It's still a 200 DPS boost from your unbuffed DPS. And for Apollo, He does overcap his attack speed. Like, he hits cap with attack speed with Audacity. That is just a fact, right? Like, even with only Executioner. You can't not have Executioner, and with only Executioner having Warrior Tabi instead of Ninja Tabi, he still caps his attack speed with Audacity. So pink buff is wasting stats during your steroid, but it's still like an 8% damage boost without your steroid. So I think it's worth it. You could take red buff, but that's probably better on your mage. So that's Apollo. Artemis, you want Bluestone with Spike Gauntlet. I think really Bluestone for her. She's got Devil Gauntlet, Ninja Tabi, Executioner, Deathbringer, Malice, Rage. That's a weird build order, and it just has to do with the strongest possible power curve. Executioner is the best first crit item because of your still target. Malice is the best second crit item because you're still target. Rage is still the best last item. You want to get to that. I think it's like 87% crit. It's just really good. Vengeful Assault's really strong. You don't want to steroid stack with Achilles Spear, but it is still a nice DPS increase. With Vengeful Assault off, she is the second highest DPS steroided hunter. Apollo is still on top, and she uses a pink buff and will not overcap during her steroid. It gets close, but not quite overcap. Cupid. So first of all, for Cupid, I'm not counting Flutter. It's a stupid steroid, and we're not counting it. So Cupid's a little different. I think you should go Death Toll because you've got the hearts for your mana sustain and to sustain your teammate. Devil Gauntlet, Ninja Tabi, Ichabod's good here. Executioner, Rage, Deathbringer, Cell, Ichabod for Malice. Achilles Spear is good. You can use it whenever you want. Pink buff is the way you want to go. And because he doesn't have a real steroid, I'm not counting Flutter, it's stupid. I calculated out his heart bomb damage, which is 1064 raw damage, and it goes to 620 versus Neath. And that's 620 before Executioner stack. So if you stack up your Executioner, it's going to do more damage, probably around 800. Yeah, like 780, 800. Huyi. Same thing as the Cupid build, right? Devil Gauntlet, Ninja Tabi, Ichabod, Executioner, Rage, Deathbringer, Cell Ichabod for Malice. Achilles Spear you want to stack on top of your Mark of the Golden Crow. Pink buff's great on him. And with his steroid, he's a pretty decent DPS hunter. Neath doesn't have a steroid. I would go I'd go Bluestone just because you've got the Death Toll to you've got the Unravel to heal yourself. So Bluestone, Devil Gauntlet, Ninja Tabi, Ichabod, Executioner, Rage, Deathbringer, Cell Ichabod for Malice. Achilles Spear can be used at any time. Pink buff. Rama, same build as the others. He's another very hard hitting hunter with his steroids because you've got Pick Me Up and Astral Strike. His base stats are also very high. You're going Devil Gauntlet, Ninja Tabi, Ichabod, Executioner, Rage, Deathbringer, Cell Ichabod for Malice, and you want your pink buff. And you can steroid stack. So with an Achilles Spear, you're going up to about 860 DPS, which is really nice. So you can stack that right on top of Pick Me Up and Astral Strike. Ull. Same build as the others, right? You're getting the Ichabod, you're selling it late for Malice. You can steroid stack with Achilles Spear. He uses a pink buff. Another pretty high DPS hunter with his steroid. Shubalanki last. Shubalanki hits very hard. He's 3-shotting hunters with a full build of, once again, Devo, Ninja, Ichi, Executioner, Rage, Deathbringer, Cell Ichabod for Malice. He is 3-shotting hunters. The problem is he doesn't have an attack speed boost. So Achilles Spear, first of all, you want to use it when you have Dead of Nights and Branching Bola. You don't really have a choice about over Dead of Nights, but I counter it as a steroid anyway. Second of all, Achilles Spear is really good here. It's a really big DPS boost. It's high 200s. And because you don't have any attack speed, you're 3-shotting people on average, and now you're going to be 3-shotting them faster, which is really good. So those are your standard hunter builds. It's primarily Devo, Ninja Tabi, Ichabod, Executioner, Rage, Deathbringer, Cell Ichabod for Malice. Some gods, the Ichabod's not worth buying. Transcendence, not really viable. And the reason is because Rage, Deathbringer, Malice is too good, right? Triple crit is just too strong. you should have it late game in your hunter build. Now you have to go executioner, you have to go boots, so that locks out 5 items of your build. There's basically no choice. You can buy an item and sell it later, but if you go Transcendence, well, that's a stack item and it's not lifesteal. So you have to go Transcendence and Aussie. But then you have to sell Aussie late game, right, to get your Malice. And then you don't have lifesteal, so you'd have to... Well, and if you really are comfortable going without lifesteal, that's really high damage. I'm not going to recommend it. But you can go Transcendence, Ninja Tabi, Aussie, Execution, Rage, Deathbringer, sell Aussie for Malice, and, like, you'll do crazy damage. But you don't have lifesteal, and that's scary. So, like, you sell Aussie for Malice, and then you have to sell Transcendence for Devil Gauntlets. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't think Transcendence builds are really where you want to be looking this patch, unless you're talking about Odysseus Bow, which is different. And that's the last build here. It's a universal build with some variation. No, actually no variation, aside from boots. And then you actually... oh, wait, there's no Transcendence in this build either. So there was an earlier version of the build that had a Transcendence. It increased the Odysseus Bow damage, but it wasn't worth it because you just had less damage with Rage and Deathbringer. Or Rage and Deathbringer did more damage. So Transcendence, in my opinion, not really good right now. And the mana sustain isn't really needed when Bluestone Pendant exists. Like, even if you've got a rough early game, right? Like, start with Death's Toll and then sell it and buy Bluestone, and that's only really costing you an extra 266 gold. Like, that's not that big of a deal. So yeah, I just don't think Transcendence is that good right now. It just doesn't really fit into builds. Full build for Odysseus Bow, Devo Gauntlet, Tabi, either Ninja or Warrior, depending on your god. You don't want to overcap attack speed, which is why Warrior is seen here. Odysseus Bow is your big power spike. It's earlier than other builds are spiking. Executioner next, then Rage Deathbringer. This is a really high DPS build. And the reason its DPS is so high is because we're counting Odysseus Bow as fully bouncing. So that means that you fire your shot, Odysseus Bow hits your target, and then bounces to 1, 2, 3, 4 targets, making it very, very powerful. So if you think you can AoE, this is likely the build to go. It just sort of will require, like, in-game testing, right? Like, is your Odysseus Bow actually bouncing 4 times? If it is, this is probably the best hunter build. If it's not, you should probably go back to the sell Equivul for a Malice type thing. And actually, I mean, you could potentially get an Odysseus Bow and sell it later for Malice if, like, they stop grouping up or something. But rule of thumb, if Odysseus Bow is bouncing, it's incredible. So that's those are my hunter builds. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe down below. There will be a link to an official forum post and a Reddit post where you can discuss it. And I hope this helps you guys on the PTS, sort of understanding what's good. Once again, sad to say, Transcendence just doesn't fit into builds. Like, if you guys can suggest a way where you could build Transcendence and still have lifesteal and still have triple crit and an executioner and not sell your boots, like, it just doesn't work. But if you have any suggestions around that and using Transcendence in a build, like, let me know. I'm skeptical, but maybe there's something I've overlooked. And you can hit me up on Twitter, twitter.com/Kretuhtuh, Tuhtuh, also down below in the description. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys later today, as I'm going to release another video around Warriors.